May 20th, 1622. Yedikul Fortress, Istanbul. In a dark, cold cell, a young man sits on the floor. He is 18 years old, just 18. 4 years ago, he was Sultan, the ruler of one of the most powerful empires on earth. Now, he is a prisoner, betrayed, overthrown, waiting. His name? Osman. Osman II. History will remember him as Genç Osman, young Osman, and in a few hours he will be dead, murdered, not in battle, not with honor, but brutally, horrifically, in a way designed to humiliate him even in death. The men who kill him, not enemies, not foreigners, his own soldiers, the Janissaries. The elite military force that was supposed to protect him. They will strangle him. They will crush his testicles. They will make sure his death is as painful and degrading as possible. Why? Because he tried to reform them, because he threatened their power, because he was too young, too ambitious, too determined to change a system that did not want to change. This is the story of Genç Osman, the boy sultan, the reformer who tried to save the empire, and the tragedy of what happens when you try to change the unchangeable. November 3rd, 1604. Topkapı Palace, Istanbul. A boy is born to Sultan Ahmed I and his wife, Mahfiruz Hatun. His name, Osman. He is the eldest son of the Sultan in the Ottoman system. That makes him the heir, the Shehzade, the prince who will one day rule. His father, Ahmed I, is a reformer. He believes in education, in progress, in preparing his sons properly. So young, Osman receives the best education available. Languages, Turkish, Arabic, Persian, history, religion, poetry, military strategy. He is smart, very smart, quick to learn, ambitious. But he is also serious. Not playful like other children, he seems to understand, even as a boy, that he has a destiny, a responsibility. His tutors describe him as focused, determined, sometimes stubborn. When Osman is 13 years old, his father dies. Sultan Ahmed I, just 27 years old, dies suddenly. And the succession crisis begins. Normally, Osman would become sultan immediately. He is the eldest son, the heir. But there is a problem. Osman's uncle, Mustafa, Sultan Ahmed's younger brother, is still alive. And according to a new succession rule established after years of fratricide, the throne should go to the eldest male of the dynasty. Not necessarily to the son, but to the oldest surviving prince. Mustafa is older than Osman. So technically, he should be sultan. But there is another problem. Mustafa is not well, mentally unstable, possibly insane. He had spent years locked in the cafes, the cage where Ottoman princes were kept, and those years had broken him. So the government makes a decision. They put Mustafa on the throne, give him a chance. It lasts 3 months. Mustafa cannot function. He makes bizarre decisions. He cannot govern. The empire is in chaos, so they remove him, gently. They declare him unfit, and they turn to the next option. Osman. On February 26th, 1618, at age 14, Osman II becomes Sultan a child, ruling an empire. At first, everyone expects Osman to be controllable, pliable, a puppet. He is 14. Surely the grand viziers and the palace officials can manage him, tell him what to do, run things themselves while he grows up, but they are wrong. Osman is not interested in being a puppet. He has ideas, strong ideas, about what the empire needs. He looks at the Ottoman Empire in 1618 and sees problems. Everywhere, the military is corrupt. The Janissaries, the elite infantry corps, have become a hereditary caste. They are no longer the disciplined elite force they once were. They are lazy. They extort money. They riot when they do not get their way. The economy is struggling. Inflation, corruption, inefficiency. The provinces are restless, governors act like independent warlords, and European powers are gaining strength technology, organization, discipline. Osman sees all of this, and he thinks, I need to fix this. I need to reform the empire, or it will die. So he starts planning. In 1620, Osman marries. His wife is Akile Hatun, a young woman from the palace. It is a quiet marriage, not much is recorded about it. Osman is focused on other things. He does not have children, not in his short reign. He is too young, too focused on his plans. Because Osman has decided on a bold move, he will lead a military campaign to Poland. Why Poland? Because the Ottomans and Poland have been in conflict. Border skirmishes, raids, nothing decisive. Osman sees this campaign as an opportunity to prove himself, to test his military, to see what is wrong with the army. In 1621, Osman personally leads the Ottoman army into Poland. The campaign targets the fortress of Khotin, and it is a disaster. Not a complete defeat, but not a victory either, a stalemate. The Ottomans fail to take the fortress. Casualties are heavy, the army is demoralized, and Osman sees something that horrifies him. The Janissaries are useless. They refuse to fight properly. They complain constantly. They threaten to mutiny if they do not get more pay. Osman watches his elite troops, the ones who are supposed to be the best soldiers in the world, behaving like spoiled children, and he makes a decision. When he returns to Istanbul, he is going to destroy the Janissaries, disband them, create a new army, a better army. It is a brave decision, a necessary decision. It is also a death sentence. Osman returns to Istanbul in late 1621, and he starts planning, quietly, carefully. His plan is bold, revolutionary, dangerous. He will go on pilgrimage to Mecca Hajj, a holy journey, but on the way, he will stop in Anatolia and Syria. And there, far from Istanbul, far from the Janissaries, he will recruit a new army from the provinces. Loyal troops, not the corrupt, hereditary Janissaries. Then, with this new army, he will return to Istanbul, disband the Janissaries, force them to retire, replace them with the new force. It is brilliant. It might have worked. But he makes one mistake. He talks about it not publicly. But enough people know. Rumors spread, and the Janissaries hear the rumors. May 18th, 1622. The Janissaries revolt. They storm through Istanbul, thousands of them, armed, angry, shouting. The Sultan wants to destroy us. He wants to replace us. We will not allow it. They march to Topkapı Palace. They demand that Osman abandon his plans, that he dismiss certain advisors, that he respect their position. Osman is trapped. He has no loyal troops in Istanbul. The Janissaries control the city. He cannot fight them, so he tries to negotiate. He promises to reconsider, to listen to their concerns. But the Janissaries do not believe him. They know he wants them gone. And then they do something unthinkable. They depose him. They declare that Osman is no longer Sultan, that Mustafa, the insane uncle, will be Sultan again. And they take Osman prisoner. Osman is taken from the palace, dragged through the streets. People watch. Some weep, some cheer. He is taken to Yedikul Fortress, an old Byzantine fortress, cold, dark, and there he waits. He is 18 years old. He was Sultan for 4 years, And now he is nothing. He knows what is coming. He must know deposed sultans do not live long. They are either kept imprisoned forever or eliminated. Osman writes letters, begging for mercy, promising he will not try to regain the throne, offering to go into exile. But nobody listens, because the Janissaries have made their decision. Osman is too dangerous to keep alive. Even imprisoned, he has supporters, loyalists, people who might try to restore him, so he has to die. May 20th, 1622. 2 days after the coup, men enter Osman's cell, Janissaries, executioners. Osman knows. He must know. Historical accounts say he fought. Of course he fought. He was 18. He wanted to live. But what can one young man do against trained soldiers? They overpower him, hold him down, and then they kill him. Not quickly, not mercifully. They strangle him with a bowstring. The traditional method for executing Ottoman royalty, no blood spilled. But they do not stop there. According to historical records, and yes, people recorded this, they also crush his testicles. A deliberate act of humiliation, a way to ensure that even in death, he is degraded. Why such brutality? Because they hated him. Because he had threatened their power. Because they wanted to send a message to any future sultan who might try to reform them. Osman dies in that cell. Brutally. Painfully. He is 18 years old. He was sultan for 4 years. He tried to save the empire, and the empire killed him for it. The Janissaries put Mustafa back on the throne. Mustafa I, the insane sultan. It lasts about a year before they realize he truly cannot function. Then they replace him with Osman's younger brother, Murad IV. Murad will later take revenge on the Janissaries. He will execute many of those involved in Osman's murder. He will rule with an iron fist. But that does not bring Osman back. Osman is buried in the mausoleum of Sultan Ahmed I, his father, in a quiet tomb, not celebrated, not mourned publicly. The empire moves on, as empires do. But something is lost. Because Osman was right. The Janissaries were a problem. The empire did need reform. And if he had succeeded, if he had been able to implement his plans, maybe the empire would have survived longer, adapted, modernized, but instead the system protected itself. It killed the reformer and continued on its slow, inevitable decline. Was there any way Osman could have succeeded? Maybe if he had moved faster, done the reforms before the Janissaries realized what was happening. Maybe if he had been older, more experienced, more politically savvy. Maybe if he had built more alliances, found more support. Or maybe there was no way. Maybe the system was too entrenched, too powerful, too resistant to change. Maybe Osman was doomed the moment he decided to challenge it. Because that is the tragedy. He was not wrong. He was not foolish. He was not incompetent. He was just too young, too idealistic, too brave for his own good. He looked at a broken system and thought, I can fix this. And the system killed him for it. Today, Genç Osman is remembered as a tragic figure, the young sultan who tried to reform the empire and paid with his life. In Turkey, he is often seen as a martyr, someone who saw what needed to be done and had the courage to try, even knowing the risks. Historians debate what might have been. If Osman had lived, if his reforms had succeeded, could the Ottoman Empire have avoided its long decline? We will never know. What we do know is this. Osman II was 18 years old when he died. He had been sultan for 4 years. He had tried to save an empire that did not want to be saved, and he was murdered by the very people he was trying to reform. That is his story, that is his legacy. A boy who became a sultan, a reformer who threatened the powerful, and a victim of a system that would rather kill its own than change. If this story of youth, ambition, and brutal betrayal moved you, if you are sitting there thinking about the price of trying to change the unchangeable, hit that like button. Because history is not just about the successful reformers, it is also about the ones who tried and failed, the ones who were killed for their vision, the ones who saw what was necessary but could not make it happen. And Gens Osman is one of the saddest examples. We are uncovering all these stories. The young leaders who tried to change history, the reformers who were destroyed by the systems they challenged, the tragedies that shaped empires. So if you want more content that makes you think about power, change, and the cost of ambition, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment. Could Osman have succeeded? What would you have done differently? Was he doomed from the start? Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is try to make things better.